Hello, gentlemen. How we doing?
Good, but I can't hear you hearing.
Oh, no, don't say that. Yanni, are you with us, my good friend? The Right Honourable Yanni himself. He's going to chuck something in a minute, isn't he? Or is he going to find his Zen? Do you reckon he'll find his Zen, Maris? Or he's going to lose his shit?
And I turned the volume down. That was all.
Oh, there he is.
No, I turned the volume down and walked off so that I could get something. I didn't want to start clattering as you guys entered and sound all unprofessional like. So I just walked off. Turned the volume down, walked off, came back, sat down. I could hear you guys saying, "Oh yes, I could think he's going to do this such and such." So yes, but I'm here, rock and roll. You can hear me clearly. Got no feedback, no nothing like that.
No,
rock and roll.
Yeah, it sounds.
Cool. Let me turn the volume down so I can pull this to me a little closer. My boom arm came this morning as well. It was quite interesting. So I was quite happy about
excellent.
Yeah. So yeah, I set it up. Excuse me, gentlemen. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. So yeah, welcome to the House of Lords, you beautiful. Why was I going to swear?
I don't know.
I don't either. I did catch it though, so I'm grateful.
Take two.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to the House of Lords. Yes, we're going to be exploring in this particular episode the art of conversation. Just being able to conversate, you and an individual being able to explore particular narratives without being emotionally triggered or feel like because this individual doesn't agree with you, therefore they're against you in some way. Sometimes it's quite refreshing to hear opposing points of view because it'll either shed light on a pre-existing belief system that one you already hold, or can actually bolster your own internalized belief structure and affirm the said internalized belief. But again, the art of conversation is a beautiful craft to be able to dance back and forth linguistically, two souls being able to explore the dichotomy of the moment. With that being said, Marius.
Oh.
Marius.
Oh.
Marius.
Yanni.
I thought we was playing tennis. I was quite enjoying it.
Oh.
Married, Yanni's coming in for a quick volley at the line.
Is it?
No, clearly not. It's out. He didn't even move.
It's being professional again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to the discussion tonight. The conversation. I mean, we're going to discuss with the updates that have lately been imposed on people, or without the updates.
But however it presents itself. Yeah, however it presents itself. And when you say with the updates, you're on about permitted speech.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily buy into that.
I suppose, gentlemen, from the conversation point of view, wouldn't we be really? I think it was more not the oppression of it, but the very fact that prior to any of that, the average schmo sometimes gets confused when they meet another average schmo, when they meet another schmo, right? Mr. and Mrs. sometimes hit it off. In some countries, Mr. and Mrs. try to get together. And as a result of the rejection for the first time, Mr. goes off feeling shame and can't muster up the stones to go ahead and try and ask another girl out. As a result of such a scenario, their population is now dwindling.
Well, that took a turn for the left there.
It did.
Yeah, it did.
Just trying to point out some of the rigors.
Because you lack the nuts to have a conversation. The world's population is now fucked because of this one spineless individual not having the Dutch courage to be able to go forward and ask somebody else if they just happen to like to go on a date. You see, that's it. The moment you stop actually going out there, but that does lead to another rabbit hole of bountiful topics, doesn't it? That's the interactions between the. Oh, see, here you go. Here's Marius's point there. I had to catch myself being aware of the new additions to dialect. Right, I was going to say, that relationship between men and women. But we now live in a world where whatever. That's the dialect, isn't it? That's the permitted dialect, where whatever can be whatever.
In a particular area of the world, it's not the entire world.
You're absolutely right there, but I can't speak on the rest of the world. I can only go off the exposure of this particular island. And from what I'm seeing through the mainstream media, that's not to say I'm not oblivious to other countries in the world that absolutely think it's nonsense as much as I do, which is refreshing, because in our particular neck of the woods, that kind of notion isn't welcome.
And what's interesting is that they've denigrated, they've attempted to denigrate the validity of those who see this as nonsense by making fun of their nations and stuff like this. Not really, and fully understanding that. Well, when it comes to the humanitarian side of life, those nations seem to have it right. Hearing that one guy turn around and say, "Oh, get rid of the Africans first because they're not a part of the world's economy." Interesting. It's very interesting.
I heard a beautiful woman, for love and money, I can't remember her name. She was from the continent of Africa. I'm not entirely sure which country. But she was having an interview about how basically, the West have given nothing back in that instance, from emptying the coffers and the bowels of Africa. When you talk about the mineral deposits and the gold, the diamonds, the stuff for the batteries, cobalt, and all of these other rare metals.
Right.
And it seems like the Western Hemisphere benefits profusely, and this individual was going to say, and they have a tendency to try to keep Africa in a dark ages. It is diabolical. And I mentioned to you only the other day, Yanni, about Niger and what's going on in relation to France.
Right.
And how the spin doctors are at it again, overthrowing governments, financing neighbouring countries' militants so they can go in and cause civil unrest so you can impose your own proxy government again.
Yeah, it doesn't end. It continues on. And we know that French do have a bit of a relationship, bit of a weird relationship with, I like to call them weird relationships because no real need for them. But yeah, if you feel you need to take things, right, instead of just actually coming to some sort of conclusion and offering up something of equal value in return, yeah, and then getting on the same page as that. If you don't think if you can't do that, really, you're fucked in the first place. That's the bottom line. If you're not able to come to the table like that at the very beginning, which is clearly what happened, stupid. So when I hear people talk about, oh yeah, they're not on the welfare, listen, your fucking country wouldn't even be standing right if it wasn't for the shit clawed and hoisted out of that continent, because it didn't come from your land. If I'm not mistaken, it didn't come from your continent. You don't have it there. That's right, you don't have it on your continent, but you've gone to somebody else's continent and they've got the audacity to talk shit about that continent after you've drained its resources. Shut the fuck up. I'm tired of hearing such rhetoric, and that's what you're teaching the youth. Be quiet. You've given nothing, right, and you've taken everything. Shut up. It's enough. Africa should just close its borders to you fucking the lot of you, and build one massive dome over the entire thing. You want anything, pay through the nose. Piss off, guys. It's ridiculous. Come on. It's a stupid notion. It's quite simple. You went in, you pushed your way fucking around, you threatened, you connived, and you stole. Fuck off. Congo. I mean, come on. Hello.
What's going
want?
there is disgusting, and I'm sure the fellows here are in agreement. And again, the world are turning a blind eye. As long as you got your phone, as long as you got your device, you got your green car, and all the rest of it. Look what's going on. You talk about freedom. You're stopping people from saying things because people are emotionally disturbed by hearing something that they don't agree with, while turning a blind eye to 8-year-old, 5-year-old, 4-year-old toddler in the depths of the dirt in Congo, going down holes in the ground no wider than the poor lad's shoulders for a bowl of fucking rice, for all intents and purposes. While yet the conglomerate are boasting every quarter ridiculous profits. I'll give you an example. We're seeing a degradation and a collapse of what once was a fabulous company, which was Thames Water Company, basically, that dealt with a lot of the UK's water, is in utter abysmal. And it got privatised, and those that bought shares in it, the shareholders, basically borrowed on the company till the company's umpteen billion in debt, not spent a single penny on infrastructure, and has the gall, and I ain't gonna say this, the fucking gall, UK, they're trying to push the water up another 40%. It's the nature of the business. But the business stops the moment we stop.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Again, let's just be clear. Not all business models need to include the greed equation. I'm going to repeat that. Not all business models need to include the greed equation. The greed equation seems to be the one that comes in, and you have that, like the Thames water. That would be the perfect example of the greed equation. People borrowing money against the company, shareholders borrowing money against the company, loads and loads of it, right? Before the company, so it's like basically saying, oh, the company's going to be worth 10 billion in 5 years, so we'll borrow right up to the neck. In fact, we'll just go past that. Fucking no one's looking. 2 years we'll have borrowed like 12 billion. But don't worry, if anybody looks around, we just push up the prices. That's how we get it back. 40% after you've squandered the internals. Really? What? No one can see that, and the average homeowner hasn't worked that out. No, because it's pretty obvious. You look, you don't see improvement, right? You spend dollars, you still don't see improvement. You spend pounds and pence, right? Loads of them every month, and you're looking for improvement. And over a period of like 3 to 4 years, there has been no improvement. Water still smells like shite, tastes like shite. You're late with it all, and unfortunately, you're putting your workers under straight duress for no apparent reason, and not making it easy for them. Why? Because you're making their wages slim. You're demotivating them, making them feel like that they should be doing something else, but you're holding them in there. So now they're kind of pissed off. Their morale goes down as a result of that. They don't particularly want to have to do it in the cold weather. They don't want to have to particularly do it in this weather or this place or that place, but they must to earn their crust, right? But yeah, meanwhile, you're taking the piss at the top, and then you're looking to the public to pay for that piss take. If I'm not
Constantly.
If I'm not mistaken, because so yeah, I mean, at some point, right? At some point, there comes a moment where whoever they are, I don't know how many people run that thing. Yeah, let's just say there's 100 people right at the top here, right? Creeping off, doing whatever it is. There's 100 people, right? But there's millions of Thames Water customers, yeah. And when the idea, or not even just the idea, when the reality of it sinks in to the customers, you actually don't matter, right? You lot at the top, you don't really matter, because when the main consciousness is, when it sinks in what you're doing properly, and they've had a chance to have a chat about it amongst themselves. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. And you know how people are these days. Next thing you know, they say, "Oh yeah, that Lord such and such lives over there," or Sir David but he lives right. Next thing you know, people are on your doorstep. Wait, where's my fucking money back? Where's my money? Where's my water? Where's my money? Where's my clean water? Because that's what it says in the contract. Where's that? First, start there. I'm not paying you shit all until I get clean water. What does that look like? Take out all the chemicals. Actually focus on it. We're 2024. Don't tell me you don't have the technology to produce clean water. Do not tell me you don't have it. You do. Why are you holding it back? Why? What's the problem? People have paid you. People have paid you for a service that you've never delivered. In order to get water that when you turn your tap on, you don't smell it, you have to do an external thing. You got to go to another company, separate, nothing to do with you lot. In fact, inspired because of the shit you lot do. There are companies that exist because you lot do a shit job. Think about it, right? Aquaox is an incredible water filtration company here in the United States, right? They do whole house filters, and they were inspired by the diagnosis of a friend. He was a lieutenant colonel at fighter pilot in the Marines in the US, died of cancer. And this company, one of these companies, this water filtration company, was spawned after the friend became sick, but then also recovered. Right? Imagine that. To provide clean water to people so that toxins couldn't get in their system, another company aside from the water company has to exist. Now, yes, you can turn around and say, well, if it wasn't for us, that company would be making the millions it would be making. Yes, that's true. If it wasn't for your shoddy approach at delivering water to the average person every day, right, to the restaurants every day, to the city every day, your shoddy approach to it, your hidden approach to it, yeah, if you'd approach that properly, right, yeah, right, I get you. If you'd have done that probably the way we want it, then yeah, I get it. Those companies may not exist. They may be ultra, like the ultra top companies. They specialize in slightly, but in fact, they probably specialize in something else. Because they didn't need to get rid of the toxins, because you did that first of all. But because you're not doing that, yeah, and it's coming at people's houses, that's why these companies just stay. It was just a side note, just to give people a bit of a reference point. So the level, how the far-reaching consequences of people not prepared to do the simplest thing, the first thing they're going to get. Clean water.
There you go. And you're absolutely right. You said something there where you're opening pundit about expenditure on infrastructure. You see nothing over the 4-year period, and yet there's price hikes, and it's worse than that. We have seen a visible decline in English waterways and the quality of their water, and there's been some investigations where they've been probed for pouring contaminants in the water, just like we're seeing across the pond.
What? this is surfaced yet again
Mm-hmm.
because more like 30 something, almost 40 years ago, I was studying ecology. These were the things that were, I mean, it was understood. There was some comprehension involved, and there were solutionary scenarios taking place. There were practices, procedures. There was education. Because there was enough data, there was enough physical data to show there was toxicity. It was basically spilling in water waves. I remember following water through Wales at one point. Doing one of the field trips, starting at Turnpike Howes. This was like a beautiful, cold, these valleys, water there, iced condensation come down the rivers that starts there. It tastes incredible. You drink it. Followed it all the way down through the valley, down and then into the main town. And at one point, I realized, oh man, where am I? We're in the concrete. So instead of being this beautiful valley that was at the top, that's where we were before outside. Now I'm in this. Now there's like a concrete wall. There's I can see that's the high street up there because there's people standing on the balcony looking over, just looking at us, right? As we've got waders and we're in there taking water samples, right? The crazy thing was it was when the guide, the center, who he was taking us basically from the top all the way through. A cool cat, sorry, cat. See, I knew I'd do it at least once, to put my hand and flail and then hit the one.
Just while you're there, Yanni, right? There is a sweet spot. Why? Right, ladies and gents, right? We're learning. You heard the beginning of the podcast, right? When we very first started this, we're going to invest in tech, and you're going to explore and learn with us. There's a sweet spot when you're talking, and for whatever reason, it gets rid of all the background noise. But as soon as you move from that sweet spot, I don't know if it's the quality of the mic or whatever, but you start really kind of losing the quality of your voice. But there is a sweet spot where it's just lush.
See it, ladies and gentlemen. See what he did there? He just said, "Oh, some shitty mic." I said, "No, it's all good though. It's all good though, bro. No, I get it. What? So
I never said
for me to be right here, though, isn't it? It's kind of better for me to be here, though, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
Order in the house. Order.
Suggestive, leading the witness.
Right, vulnerable, sustained.
Hang on. Let's just come in, right? Because we're a few minutes in, and tonight's subject is about the art of conversation. Now,
is it?
What do you mean? Is it? Where were you?
Where have you been? Have you just arrived?
Yeah, I just arrived.
Fell asleep. He's one of those lords who fell asleep, mate. In the back, in the
just wakes up and goes here.
I was just listening how he took a U-turn. We were talking about totally, but not we, but you guys were talking about totally different things. And I was like, interesting. Okay.
Where I was going to go with that, right, was the little caveat is that we've just had a conversation, and we're going to be discussing about the art of conversation. But what had taken place just then was what could be construed as a conversation where there was two parties, there was a back and forth, there was an exchange of information to gain a greater comprehension.
I like what you did there.
Thank you very much, my brother. So where it was going to lead on from that was to ask the pair of you, what would be the benefits of a good conversation, and what are the kind of pitfalls of a bad conversation?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We're good. Yeah, what's going on? Could you come out from under your covers wherever you are, brother?
Yeah. Well, what are the benefits for a good conversation? You kind of leaded me on by saying a good conversation. The benefits are because it's a good conversation. I mean, implies being a constructive conversation. Or maybe I get it wrong.
Does it really? Does it really imply a constructive conversation just because it was good? 'Cause it could be good and empty.
Good and empty. But what is the good then if it's empty?
The good
There's a
is
saying out there that goes like this: time enjoyed doing nothing isn't wasted time. And sometimes it's quite pleasurable to find yourself sat in some obscure location and
Yeah.
Mr. or Mrs. Nobody just rocks up. And you have one of those empty conversations about, I don't know, the weather and the buses always arriving 2 at a time. You know, it's kind of an empty conversation, but at the same time, it's pleasurable. So it could be construed as a good conversation because it's made you feel a particular way. You know, it passed the time. It was an experience, not of a bad connotation.
So in that position, Darren and Susan had a good conversation because they had a pleasant conversation about
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Stuart. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I see what you did there.
I see what you do.
Sorry. But kind of that what he got me to is like, okay. Fair enough.
Good job. Good job.
But yeah, I suppose the question still stands, though. You know, in this context, to you, you know, you interpreted a good conversation as being expansive. Yeah. So in this case, could we surmise that a good conversation to you is something that's expansive? It evokes some form of mental stimuli that encourages growth. Yes.
Yes.
That goes towards a solution, not for the sake just having a conversation, but in having a conversation to find a solution to whatever the conversation started about.
I see. So what would you, personally speaking, right, what would you construed as a bad conversation for Marius? If somebody come up to you and, you know, they were insistent to talk, what would you think? Oh, no, not one of these fucking conversations.
A bad conversation. Well, a bad conversation, I can say, is when someone like the other side that want to look at what I present. They only want me to look at what they present and they wouldn't accept the challenge. That's a bad conversation because that's only one side. I mean, it's nothing to compare. It's nothing to actually even try to find a solution because it's only one-sided. It's biased.
And when you say won't accept the other side, do you mean another point of view?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So basically speaking to a one-sided thing. Yeah, I totally understand. I kind of lost the thread of where I was going on that last bit, but I get it. So, Iani, the same to you, you know, what would you construe, you know, a good conversation, a pleasant conversation?
Good conversation. I would construe a good conversation as something that left me feeling energized, something that I felt an even exchange of information, of intention, of awareness, energy exchange. You know, come away feeling, yeah, man, that's good. Because, you know, I'm sure that anyone here or whoever's listening, I'm sure you can be aware of those conversations that leave you drained. You walk off, you feel drained. You feel like, man, what? How long was that? I can't get that back, can I? Them last 2-3 hours, mate, I can't get them back. You know those ones? Or if you haven't had that, but I'm sure people have. So that's what I would feel would be the opposite of what I've described as a good conversation. A bad conversation would be one that you feel drained, feel as if, hold on, wait, you almost feel as if you kind of feel hard done by. You've not been given all of it. if that makes any sense. You've not, like, you've been taken from. You've been taken, but no one's giving you a damn thing. You got there, you're thirsty. They knew you were thirsty. You were sweating, and they didn't offer you a cup of water. Nothing. Meanwhile, somebody's ransacked your backpack. Somebody's ransacked it, taken the Lucozade, chips, the crisps, and the tuna sandwich out. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd be pissed about the tuna sandwich.
Yeah, so would I. That's a problem.
Now, right back at you, Carl. What would be your view on that?
What would be my view on an
conversation?
expensive conversation?
Mm.
You see, it's funny. I thought you, Marius, you see, here we go with that internalized projection and a presumption. I thought you were going to be the middle guy. What you have a tendency to do, you find that middle ground. But in this case, it seems it's going to be me, because I can experience, in this instance, to give it a word for dialectic's sake, the notion of this is good, enjoyable, expensive. And equally, oh, fucking hell, not this again. The proverbial Agent Smith that I've mentioned before, in the same conversation. So, but I suppose in this instance, one that I enjoy is an honest conversation. I do like an honest conversation. I actually enjoy conversating with people also that don't agree with me, that have their own belief structures and their own ideas of what's going on in the world. Because I enjoy the back and forth. If you find somebody willing and open enough to explore, then a beautiful thing kind of takes place. Is this kind of unison of inquiring minds and totally invested within that moment. And a good conversation, hours can fly by in the matter of minutes. And again, like Iani was saying, there is those characters out there in the world, and we can't deny their existence, right? They're out there that, depending on your workplace or that kind of environment, there are those characters. Like Marius said, we made jokes, Dippy Darren and Special Susie, and you got the various other characters, haven't you? The gobshites that just always talking about, I'm gonna go do this, I've got to do that, and you just shut up. Everything that comes out your mouth makes my ears bleed, right?
His name,
and
his name's Gary Gobshite, by the way.
Gary Gobshite, yeah, there you go. Gary Gobshite in the office is just always going on. And but yeah, it's equally, it's a funny thing, because as I'm exploring that internally and then I'm viewing it inside before I verbalize what's going on, there's the realization and the remembrance to get to this comprehension. I am incapable of reciting the number of hours that I've sat through lectures, days, weeks, months, maybe even years, right, of hours of lectures by people that are just, for all intents and purposes, talking shite. And you got the nodding dog thing going on. There's nothing, right? And then 3 hours 45 minutes into this just like non-inspirational fucking lecture from my own perspective viewpoint, there's this one thing, and there's about 2 sentences that all of a sudden are worth all of the weight, all of the oh my god, this person is so boring, all of that. It was worth these 2 sentences, because those 2 sentences have now shed light on a big pile of otherness in the brain that was stood over there that you've exposed yourself to but had no connection to anything. And then this bit of information, this couple of sentences that just been awarded you like this gift for your tolerance and patience. So as much as I'm selective on the environments where I publicly speak and the duration of time that I'm there, I don't necessarily shy away from individuals interacting with me that have very different views on the world, because I've been very aware since I was quite young that my views are way out there on the fringe. Granted, as time's gone on, they're becoming more and more kind of looked at and explored. But I've been out there for a while, so this idea of having to communicate with people that are very much Agent Smiths, archetypal system servers, and I don't mean that in a slight, in any way, shape, or form. It's just a recognition that you're a good citizen, and you're exactly what the government want. You're not asking the too much of a difficult question. You're not looking at the issues too much. You enjoy your Saturdays. You like to go down to the furniture store every 6 months. Your wife likes a new kitchen, etc. You go to the football and all the rest of it. The proper stereotypical good citizen. And they're everywhere. So I can't necessarily go, because these individuals haven't been exposed to that kind of information, and any time they've heard anything of such a kind, it's been in jest and in the realms of conspiratory and mocked via the mainstream and everything else. So they're very much that archetypal good citizen. They're just unaware of the nuances outside of their particular life's lens. So what is a good or bad conversation? All of that. A good conversation is something where I do feel invigorated, even challenged at times. A lot of people presume Marius and I are arguing. But you'll see practically after every back and forth that could be construed as heated, we'll look at the camera and we're both laughing, we're both smiling. Because we're seeing the emotion, we're seeing life's frustration, we're seeing, that's what it is. It's never nothing personal. So a good conversation is something of that nature that can either evoke introspection, have me looking at my own self. I find quite interesting when people can come forward with points of view. A bad conversation, I'm going to have to agree with Marius, is one of those individuals that keeps on going about their own particular world's view, and that being the only view, the whole view, and nothing but the truth, and anything outside of that is horseshit. Yeah, them type of individuals I can accept and love with all the light in the world, but after about 20 minutes, I want to flush them down the toilet.
Well, at least you have the patience of 20 minutes. That's a good one.
A lot more than most, bro. A lot more than most. A lot more than most.
I don't last 5 minutes, but it's good.
Yeah, I mean, but I can't be doing it, bro. I can't be doing it. Let me just be frank. Let me just be frank for a minute, because Frank don't mind. I don't any longer. I mean, I did before. I did take time before to. I took time to withstand the conversation. I took time to withstand the conversation, as if I'm just being frank. Right? Remember, Frank said he didn't mind if I was going to be in for a bit, so I'm just being frank. Yeah, and I took the time, but I was withstanding the conversation. I wasn't lying. It wasn't like, oh, I'm happy to hear this. No, I was standing there, gritting my teeth, wondering why it hasn't ended yet. Right? And continued on. Something stuck me there, but I didn't say anything. You could see it in my eyes, but you ignored that. Continued on talking. Now the chalkboard, nails on the chalkboard area comes into play. You see my eyes are watering because and twitching from that final but still you continue on your story. So I just wanted to say that back in the day, if you knew me and you did that, that's what I was really doing. Just tolerating it as best I could, training myself for bullshitters twice as good as this shit.
There's so many of them. There really is.
As I was listening to Yanni, I was asking myself the question. But clearly I wasn't at the point where I am today. There was a part of my life where I was those zombies out there. It was just a little chat about the weather, about the family, about the holiday, about the whatever. And then things changed a few years back. So I was questioning myself, how many times was I like that with others, maybe? Interesting.
Good, definitely a good point there. Yeah, you know, but what's interesting is I think of it and I think, yeah, that was me at one point, right? That was me. You know, attempting to construct some form of wish-wash, which was interpreted as drivel at its premium. You know, I'm sure, you know, growing up, you think you know what you're talking about, but you don't. And you do that to somebody who knows, but they're gracious enough not to deal with it right there and then. You know, and then you remember later on, something happens. You go back to that moment, and then you're like, oh man, I look like a complete plum. Wow. Like I look like Paul. Plum Paul.
Honestly, all the names that you're hearing in this show, right, they're not reflective of every Paul or Mark or Gary or Darren or Sue.
No, just most of them.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
You had to add that.
Just joking.
Joking.
I got loads. Oh no, I got loads of mates. They'll have a go at me when they. Yeah.
But it could we all say, because you just said something there, right? My mates will have a go at me, right? And I know it's kind of in jest, right? But could we see the sensitivity that is increased over the past few generations playing a factor in the decline of thought to verbalization skills, the cognitive ability to express yourself devoid of emotional kind of triggering?
Well, shame has been attached to that. They've attached shame. They've
To
attached
what?
victimization to the truth, to facts, to logic, to the obvious, to the list can. That's the basic list, right? To common sense. Okay, there's just like that's just the basic 7 or 6, I think it is, right? And they've attached all of this sentiment, and they've tacked on emotional responses. They've tacked them on as if it's part of it. They've tacked them on like, we can get abuse on there if they say the wrong thing. We can call that abuse too. Okay, well, we'll put abuse on there, and we can get hurting. Okay, we'll put that on there. We can get painful. And we'll put that on there. So now you know, it's like you got this one little thing. You say one thing. You say something. You say one little thing. General, nothing to anyone, just a general thing, and that just because you're general and you didn't include somebody. You decided to be neutral. You throw a neutral statement out, and somebody waiting in the wings, the weakest of them all, run out. Oi! You excluded me. That's not fair. Who's talking? Excuse me? Could you raise your hand, please? I want to see who it is talking. And who are you? All right. And where are you from? Okay. Does it say your country or your land in what I've said or what? No, but you didn't include me. And are you the only one who's come forward? Yeah. What? Because we feel excluded. We're new. How new? Our country was born like 6 months ago. Yeah. Yeah. Really? Where? I'm not quite sure. Okay. Well. You're not quite sure so where are you from? Nowhere really. I don't know where it is. All right, so you're from somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So you're unhappy because I excluded you. Yeah. Well, look, if you're going to identify with the invisible man, right? That's the first thing. Second, you should identify with nowhere. What would you want me to do? I can't really, because I don't know anything from anywhere. And if you could finally identify as nobody, then of course you can be invisible. You got anything else? Nah. All right. Thanks. Have a good day. Just, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I feel like that sometimes.
More I'm looking at, how did it happen? How did it happen? You know, because this is where we are here, where people are more sensitive to whatever someone else says. But how did we get here?
Why weren't you looking out the window, mate?
You're looking out the window. No, I'm serious, because I was like, okay, but as parents, we hardly know what they're being taught in school, right?
Okay, well, look, I can put my hands up and say, in my case, how we got there,
No, what I'm saying, you're not there every hour to listen to what the teachers are saying. I'm not saying you're not involved with the school. What I'm saying, you're not going to be in the classroom listening to what they're being taught.
No.
That's my point.
But but you can, but then when they come home, do we have the relationship with our children that would allow them to freely speak of the things that they worked on that day at school? Thus giving us an opportunity to gauge our children's interpretation of the information that was given to them. If we have a communicative relationship with our children, if we know how to speak to our children and allow our children to speak with us, if we manage that, then regardless of what, and within doing that, there is a love and a trust that's there for the child to parents. If that is in place, at that particular point, it doesn't matter what they say at school.
Ignite your vitality. Meet the LifeSpring Gold Card, a quantum leap in wellness. Revitalize your bioenergy, boost stamina, ease aches and improve your mental focus. Shield yourself from electromagnetic frequencies emitted from cell phones, laptops and other smart technologies. Restructure tap water, revitalize food and harmonize everything around you. Elevate well-being with LifeSpring, made in the USA. Order today from VanessaElston.com.
If
well,
it's
I will
not,
say one thing, Yanni. Right, sorry to interrupt you.
no,
But
okay.
we have to also look at that part of our life when we are a teenager. A teenager is it's an interesting, and I'm going through it with my daughter right now, so it's an interesting topic for me, right? Teenagers, sometimes they just don't want to expand on it. It's not because they don't have the relationship we do and they don't want to have discussion, and you can have deep discussion with them and they can tell you things. But some days they just don't feel like it. And I ask myself, why does she feel like she doesn't feel like it? What's going on, right? But now you have to understand that the teenage mind is different. It's where we all go through, and that's for the time when we pretty much know it all. We know everyone. We can do whatever because we know how to do it, but we actually know nothing, right? It's that part of life where children become not closed, but they're not going to say everything to the parents. They will only say whatever they think it's important. Now, I'm not saying that all the teenagers are like that. What I'm saying, the majority of the teenagers are like that, right? Now, if you combine the education system with movies, TV programs, if you look at that, I mean, one of the things I've observed, for example, with the episodes that my missus she's following, like she records and she can't miss an episode of Coronation Street or EastEnders, right? It's just they record it. so they don't miss it. And what they do in this, they actually address the situation, like implying all these sensitivities and sensible talking and you name it, to the movie. That's what the family is like. Oh, that wasn't right. Why did she say that? Oh, look. Oh, she was upset because of that. He shouldn't say that. Well, what did he say? Right? Are you guys still there?
Somebody's sound like they got some gas.
No, that was me just listening to the conversation, multitasking. I've been sat here and I'm looking at the equipment in front of me, and when we're set up in this manner, when we're doing the podcast, right, I'm operating through the iPad, and I've just worked out a way that I can actually stream this conversation and people hear it like you and I are hearing each other.
Right.
Into Instagram.
Mm.
And how I do that is basically bootleg it, right? Cowboy and Indian style, by taking the monitor cable and running the monitor into the back of the phone. So that way it picks up all of the audio that's going into it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done.
Oh, thanks, oh, fine.
give
Thanks. Cheers.
Peanut. Give quickly, somebody. Give him peanut. Thank you. Yes, next.
That's what was going on, all right? That's what was going on.
It's good.
Okay, so based on what I said, Carl, what would be your observation? How did we get
I was
here?
listening to what you said, and I was listening to they're not going to tell you everything. And granted, you may be right, but there is a certain amount of way of being that you can build a relationship with your children, where your children are very open and honest, but you've got to give them that space to be so. In this instance, let them know, in a sense, that you've been that age and you know what's going on in this instance, and regale stories of which, and I'll give you an example. One of my daughters has the same kind of relationships that I have with a lot of my relatives. It's just say it how it is, just regardless, just this is what I'm doing, and people either accept you or they won't. And I've found over the years, the more honest you are, the more genuine friendships you'll keep. And that even comes down to ones of your siblings. I mean, one of my daughters tells me practically everything, to much of my horror, but she also knows her father. And she often uses this one against me. You can't judge me. I come to and ask you for advice because I know you've done it and then some. Right? It's like, all right, yeah, you got me. Right? So, yeah, we have that relationship. And I've had that proud dad moment a couple of times, and it may be wrongly, or might be a misplaced kind of smile. But it's...
Do you recognize that as a small percentage of parents?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
teenagers?
absolutely. But I equally see a way around it, and it is possible to change that. So that's kind of my view on it.
So this is where it would be great if you can give a hint, because listeners, they may be dealing with having teenagers in their family, and maybe it's a great lesson.
Yeah, I love what you did there.
If you feel like
No, it's all right, but I've got to put a disclaimer out there. I really do. I'm no father of the year. Don't get me wrong. I'm no father of the year at all. I've in some cases been the worst example. However, the few relationships I have managed to build upon of certainly being one of openness, honest about who you are as a parent. You know, I remember being that age and you could smell bullshit. And I don't mince my words there. You could. You knew when somebody bigger than you was just trying to fob you off, or, you know, that kid talk to you when you'd been around the block maybe once at that age or something. You got to know what's going on. You know, the moment you can kind of assess who your children are knocking around with, what kind of dialect are they using, what's happening, you know, what's cool in their environment, what's sick, all the rest of it. And then you begin to use that kind of information to build those bridges. You know, you was a kid, you was a teenager, you know the angst. You know, we all had to go to school, and I know many parents that struggle with that conversation. And if you can, you know, bolster home that it's just one of those things. In life, we have to do certain things. If we don't, you wouldn't have the trainers on your feet. You know, your dad and I wouldn't be able to take you to school every day in the car. You know, unless you're really going to knuckle down and focus it on what it is that you want out of life. And I must admit, I don't place the onus or the importance on education. I know many of people, and some of the world's best tycoons and business people were your C-grade people. Because these were the people that thought, you know. And then when you think about the really creative people, they tell them we don't do things until last minute because that's when the juices come.
Right.
So some of the advice I've given to a lot of people over the years is if you find that thing that you absolutely love, just keep doing it. The rest will take care of itself. The moment you become super efficient at anything in life, doesn't matter if you're being qualified, been to a college, been to a university or anything like that, right? The people that are capable of doing things are amazing. And they've achieved great things outside of the world of academia because they focus on what it is that they love. And when you become efficient at that, it pays for itself. Industry people sort you out. And I've seen it time and time again. Because you become efficient at a craft. So the moment you begin to basically just bridge that gap between you and the child and remind the child that, you know what, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. There's no rule book. Government, depending on where you are in the world, speculate that you have to do this and this and this. And if you don't, I can get in trouble, son or daughter. It ain't necessarily fair. If you want to be homeschooled, you want to do this, you want to explore that, we can explore that together, this, that, and the other. But, you know, I'm just as much under the frigging whip by you. You think I want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work, you know, but we got to do these things because of X, Y, and Z. And the only way we can change that is by jumping through, playing their games till we get to a position where we then can become the manipulator of our own peace, of our own life. You know, as opposed to the state or life moving us across the chessboard, we ourselves start cognitively making our own decisions. But you got to understand that the child, you got to understand the environment. You got to bridge that gap of that silence, and you must also accept. Yeah, we did think we knew what we were doing. We did think we knew it. We'd sussed it all out. But in honesty, we hadn't a clue. We didn't have a clue. As I forgot his name now. Joe Rogan on one of his stand-ups turned around and says, you know, at that kind of age, you're just learning how to talk. You're learning how to construct a sentence. You're exploring points of view, etc. You know, your emotions, your hormones are rampant. You feel like this one day, the next day you feel completely the polar opposite. And these are all part of that progression. And if you can weather the storm and build those bridges, you know, you're a parent first. You don't have to be a child's friend. There's nothing in the rule book that says you need to be friends, but society at the minute saying, oh, you must be child's friends first. No, you're a parent first. Our sole responsibility as parents to our children is teach a child the capabilities to live without you. It's the best way you'll gear them up for life. And to do that, you have to start assigning some form of responsibility, especially from a young age. You look at various cultures and see how they operate. And then you see it's some of the best performing cultures out there in the world, academically, financially. And then you begin to see how the children are raised. Then you can begin to, piece together what would be best for your child, because each and every one of us is unique in a beautiful way. We're a cosmological diamond, as rare as fucking hen's teeth. But we're constantly being molded and trying to be put in some form of conformative shell and expression of ourselves. And we expect the children and the offspring to do exactly that. And they don't even know who they are. 9 times out of 10, most of the parents don't even know who they are. And yet they're turning around and saying, you got to pick a career, you got to do this, you got to do that. There's so much stress, so much burden. If you looked at mental health and anxiety and all of these isms and fucking alphabet diagnoses, didn't exist a long time ago. So I was speaking to a parent only the other day, and I had to ask that question. We as a society seriously need to have a good look at ourselves, because the kids are a product of the environment. And if the kids aren't coping well, and they're lacking the moral compass to process life, and then they're neurodivergent and extrasensory and ADHD and attention deficit. What was the other one? There's just loads of them. You get where I'm going. It's not one size fits all. That's what I'm getting at. You have to analyze who stood in front of you, what they've been exposed to. What's the environment they're constantly exposed to? Trying to speak to a child about the development of consciousness, if parents are constantly sat there watching American Gladiators and handing them an iPad every time they come in from school and don't speak to them until it's bedtime. You're not just dealing with the problem with the child, then you got to address the parents. And this is the problem where we're at. We've got young parents, young adults that, for all intents and purposes, no disrespect intended, don't know their ass from their elbow, raising children to perpetuate not knowing their ass from their elbow, and then still trying to be militant on the behavior of the child, when the child itself has no pretext on what fucking good behavior and cognitive abilities are in the first place, because it's had no example. So again, it's all good and well, us pointing our finger at little Tommy, who's not behaving too well, or not performing as he should because of social stats and whatever. Don't forget to hold that mirror up at ourselves. How are we conducting ourselves? How are we? You got to understand that we're setting the standard. If we're the parent and the children are around us all the time, then we set the standard. We either act progressive, move progressive, and be progressive and expansive, loving, understanding, and explore both inner and outer space with your family on a theoretical level, then you're all winning. But if you're all constantly pointing your finger at the other one because the other one's making your life a nightmare, but you're not prepared to do the work yourself, then you're equally as an arse. You can't expect one without the other. That would be my advice, Murray.
That was beautiful, honestly. Beautiful. I've got a follow-up question with that. How is that connected to what we were discussing earlier? Because there is a connection.
The art of conversation.
Yeah.
Iani, would you like to take that one? Or is that a question to me directly?
To you directly, based on what you just shared, how is that connected? I mean, addressing one with the other. How is that impacting one another?
Well, this is where we could either go into the you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. Now, if your child predominantly spends his time at school with undesirable characteristic traits that fundamentally outside of your environment, and then you come home and you know full well that you and your partner have some undesirable antisocial traits yourself, and yet fail to recognize that and bolster that on your children, then there's a problem. But with the art of being able to conversate with one another, and that in itself broadens one's emotional maturity, because the art of conversation is expansive in and unto itself. If you're conversating with the right individuals, they can hold up the proverbial mirror to have you check your words, to have you check your point of view. And I'll give you an example. Some of my children, I used to conversate on a regular basis when they were very young. From the point they were very young, I didn't necessarily do the baby talk and shorten things, like a doggy woggy or catty yatty yitty or whatever it is. I didn't do none of that stuff. A cat is a dog, a house, a horse. None of this. Is that a cloppity clop or whatever? It's like, what are you fucking confusing people? What are you doing? Right? They're fucking sponges. They're observing everything, and you're teaching them that a horse is a clippity clop. But my point being, the moment you begin to explore the linguistic challenges that are thrust upon us when we explore our own emotions, because how many of us here, sure of us, all of us in attendance, and I'm sure people that listen to this back will know somebody at some point, especially teenagers, that are expressing a ton of angst and in tears, but I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to express it. The words just won't come out. And we know adults like that. So again, the moment you begin to use introspection on why you do what you do before you start thrusting those behavioral patterns on your children, when you become cognitively aware of how you're conducting yourself, you see the undesirable behavior patterns in your child, and you can use what's called topiary, where you can start to snip those undesirable facets off and steer them in the right direction. And the best thing about that, when they get to that age where they start to explore the world and explore what it is to be a young adult, they're well equipped and have built a linguistic relationship with you, wrapped around their own internalized emotions, that helps them circumnavigate the world that we live in. That's how the two are combined. You expand the dexterity of the mind. Everybody in attendance benefits.
So, Carl, how would a parent, what would be the greatest approach to speak to a teenager? Like, can the parent address the teenager as an adult?
Again, it's not open and shut like that. It's not necessarily straight that's the answer to address that. Again, like I said in the opening pundit, it depends on the child. It truly depends on what the child's used to hearing you like, and the level of comprehensions that they have. Don't come at this if you're not you directly, but listeners, etc. If your dialect is one that doesn't necessarily use the words that you hear the likes of us using, use the dialect that you know and you both understand, that can bring about a comprehension. But there has to be I used to call it slowly catch a monkey because I had 3 stepchildren, and having stepchildren is very, very, very different to having your own. It shouldn't be, but it is. With your own, there's a subconscious complacency, right? That no matter what happens in life, you know, they'll always love you. They may not like you, but they'll love you. We hear it around the world, you know. Fucking terrible parents, and it's like you'll hear these people. I forgive them. I don't, you know, I love them. I don't want nothing bad to happen. I don't fucking like them, but you know, I love them, etc. Because there's this unconditional, unspoken kind of love. Because it's blood. It's your kin. It's your relatives. It's your children. It's your parents. Whatever. But when it's your stepchildren, foster children, you know, there's a very different approach, because that biological kind of children, there's almost a taken for granted, a subconscious taken for granted that they'll always be in your life in some way or another. It may not be perfect, but it'll always be the case. But with the stepchildren, with foster children now, there's work to be made up here. There's distrust. For as quick as you can gain, well, I say it's not a quick process. You have to work at it. You have to build up the trust, and then that trust has to be sustained, and it will be tested and tried, and it puts you in a very different place, because you know you have to be consistent.
Yeah, there's something that you say. Yanni? Yanni, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
All right, you said something about his units playing up, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keeps on switching. It keeps.
It might sound like an earthing problem, like one device is in the mains and something else isn't. But I don't know if you might have enough power in the actual device itself to maybe worth plugging in. I'm not sure, because it sounds like we've got a purring cat.
Yeah.
But that is what it is. Yeah, well, that's kind of my little ramblings on that, Marius. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, well, no, that was not rambling. It's interesting that you said rambling. I was waiting to come back on, just to, if you want to share with the audience, you don't have to, by the way. How did you get to know how to approach foster children?
Oh, that's easy. I am one. You know, once you understand that, and you understand the things that present themselves as a foster child, the innate hang-ups that present themselves, and the many varieties that can present themselves, you understand the situation. You know, you understand that there's going to be the "you're not my real dad" stuff. You understand. You know, there's going to be the resentment. There's going to be the guilt, where if they do start liking you, that they're doing the other parent a disservice. Once you understand all of those kind of things, you psychologically and emotionally prepare yourself for them presenting themselves, and in that way, you award yourself the skill set, linguistically and emotionally, to bridge that gap, because you understand the situation.
Well, I can say on behalf of the audience, thank you, Carl. That was beautiful.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you got some value from it, mate. You know, again, I know I used ramblings, but on this instance, it's just kind of that approach, really. It's something that's kind of developed over one's life.
Well, all I hope is, and it's not just hope, is that more listeners are going to hear what you just shared right now. because there's a lot of nuggets in there for all the parents right now that deal with teenagers, right? Because it's a challenging time to have a teenager in a time when the world is like
Crazy.
this,
Crazy.
right?
The world is crazy.
Yeah, and it's a lot of great insights in what Carl just shared, and all I'm gonna share is, even though I may not have a similar relationship with my daughter like Carl can have with his daughter, but I do have a pretty strong connection with my daughter, and we have discussions about different things. And I chose to treat her as an adult because we live in a world that it's fast-pacing. It's through the challenges that are currently that's coming. Teenagers will have to grow up faster to deal with it. It's not because they've been there. I'm not going to say forced, but it's how it's going to happen, right? Because of the way that the world is dealing with this crossroad, should we say, in the progression of humanity, right? And it's a challenging time. But by having these discussions with my daughter, I discuss about vaccines. I discuss about anything to do with all the nonsense that's happening with all the genders and all that. We've gone through a couple of years of continuous discussions in order for her to make the right choice that she thinks is right, not that I think is right, because it's not my life, it's her life, right? But I just asked her to simply come back to me and do her own research and come to me and say what's the pros and cons of choosing that way, and then you put it into balance and decide which one is more beneficial. Right, so she went, she did the research, she came back and she said, well, Dad, you're right. I said, well, I don't have to be right, but what was I right about? And you're right about what you said, what you discussed, and I'm not going to share now in the podcast about it, but I'm just saying, she was saying that I want to respect her privacy in regards to that, you're right. And she said, you're right about it. And I'm glad we discussed. And now she's a happily teenage girl exploring this particular time, right? And it comes with challenges, like you said about the school and all that. She kind of doesn't want to go to that school. She's like, she would rather be at home, homeschooled. But I have a challenge because I have a partner, my wife, that doesn't agree with it. So there you go. I have to have discussions with my daughter and say, I totally understand you, but how can we work it together so everything is okay and we don't disturb the waters more than they should be, in order for you to get what you want? We're going to have to give something in return for the period of time, right? To come to understanding of each other and collaborate. So it is challenging, but it's worth doing it, right? Having the discussions with our own children, it's worth doing it right now. If you haven't started yet, you still have time. Start speaking to them like you decide, an adult, or like your child, but have the conversation where the child opens up to you. Because it's affecting mentally a lot of teenagers at the moment. It is.
It is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah,
they need our support the same way we need their support. this is the key. The key is not one or the other. This is the particular time in humanity where generations have to start coming together and say, okay, I understand what I am in my journey, or I have an idea what I am in my journey, but how can we collaborate so we make it better? Because at the moment, it's going down south.
Hello.
Yeah.
I thought I'd lost you for a second there, sorry.
No, I just thought because, when people say, well, what do you mean it's going down south? Well, we'll look at it. We are part of the system that we are poisoning ourselves for an income.
The proverbial airliner is making an emergency landing, and engines 2, 4, and 1 failed. Now, we have a pilot who's more skillful than Sully, who's actually gliding the plane to some form of hopefully open clearing, but no one can tell whether that will actually happen or not. The phone system doesn't work, and when you arrived on the plane, they told you that there was a problem with the internet. So there are no last minute calls being made. This is the plane that we're on. In fact, wait, what's that? I can see it. Look, the landing. But coming in too steep. I'll leave it there. The sweat is pouring. I've heard flatulence all around me. Some people have said, I'm sorry, looking at me, and I realized. Don't worry. Are you wearing Depends? No. Okay.
Is this you describing your technical nosedive into the earth?
And observing those around me as flatulence and all kinds of worry, bowel loss takes place.
Right, Ioni. So you're on your iPad now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you have your phone free? Are you capable of accessing Instagram on your phone as we speak?
I access Instagram on my phone. I'm trying not to cause any problems with anything else, mate.
Right. All right, not a problem.
Scanner.
Because I'm just doing a quick broadcast test. If you can hear everything that's going on in this conversation, then we've got it, and we might be onto a future winner.
No, it's the. Oh, hold on. Who's that? I do see a live button. Let me hit it.
Let's have a look then. Is the Right Honourable Ioni hearing us?
Oh, look at that. I've got a send a request.
Oh, you've actually waved to me. That's a bit mad. All right, so I can hear it. Marius?
I can hear it. It was a delay of about, say, like 10 seconds. See?
So can you hear yourself in the live?
Let me see. So you're crystal clear, but I can't hear myself as loudly in the live. Not as crystal clear.
All right, Marius, say something.
Yeah.
Mate.
Say something.
Could you hear Marius again? No, you see, I can hear me, so why can't I hear you too? If this is coming through the monitor, did I put it in the right one? Let's see.
It only plays your voice.
So you don't hear that through your thing? You can hear it in your headphones. And I can hear
I can hear you two loud and clear because we're already on the podcast. I'm just trying to stream on another thing here.
Yeah.
So it can hear you two. as well. So we can also be doing a live like we're doing now. Well, the podcast now, but also stream it live on another platform. But I was hoping others would be able to hear you as well.
Well, even if they only hear you, still you had a pretty good flow.
Maybe we have to, maybe in order for us to be heard on that second device, we should accept the request and then be on there as that added, you know what I mean? Dimension.
Marius wouldn't be able to do that, would he? Because he's operating from one device. You see.
Yeah.
I've got Global Griff. Is that Debbie? Debbie, she puts, you sound great. Thank you very much, Debbie. Right, but at the moment we're in the middle of a podcast, a House of Lord podcast, recording Sunday's episode, and we was exploring the ability to broadcast it live while we're actually recording. But at the moment, you can just hear me. I don't think you can hear Iyani or Marius.
Right.
Well, that would be great if she can let us know.
If you heard that, she might just do that. Marius said, if you can hear us, let us know.
Yeah.
See, in all fairness, Iyani, if you are on the live, you should be able to hear yourself as well, because you're watching what's coming through on my audio. Do you know what I mean? On my live. So I'm a bit confused. It might be the actual adapter that I'm using at the moment. I'm not entirely sure. I may have one line about it.
Clear.
You can just hear me crystal clear.
Yeah.
Can you hear this?
Hello.
Only in the headphones.
Only in the headphones. Right. Okay. So that means that lets me know that there's a lead problem. So yeah, I could just rectify that.
Yeah,
and we should be able to do that, because if you're not hearing the effects come from the mixer, that lets me know that the mixer's not communicating with the phone up the top there, and it's picking up my voice naturally from the phone, not actually through the microphone. So in this instance, if I put an echo on my voice, the people on Instagram can't hear the echo on my voice.
Where you gone?
No, they don't. They don't hear it.
Yeah, so you see that lets me know that it's a cable issue. That's not a problem. All right, you beautiful people up there, thank you for passing through. I can imagine the people on the House of Lords podcast is like, who's he talking to? Yes, there's another window open. I'm trying to get that interaction thing going on so we can have live interactions whilst recording what is, for all intents and purposes, is nearly a 3-hour podcast.
That would be great if that can happen.
Exactly. So bear with us up there. We shall come back to you and retry this in a sec. But for now, nothing but love and light to you and yours. And thank you for passing through. Thank you for letting me know that I sounded great, Debbie. And we should be back in 2 short shakes of a lamb's tail.
So.
Somebody I'm just forever professional. You know, it's ridiculous.
A little bit of an experiment there. It's nice.
Give me a minute,
so, yeah, Ihani.
Yes, sir.
What say you, based on what's been shared by Carl and me? What say you?
What say me? What about me? What say me? Say nothing,
You're
mate.
a parent. You've been through it. You've got.
Oh yeah. Well, experience. What a wonderful learning experience that was. What say you? It's imperative that you have a communicative, directly open relationship with your children. It's imperative, because you'll soon discover what it's like when important things turn up like that and they're not talking to you. And you'll soon discover what it's like to have to try to undo some of the weird manipulations that have taken place whilst they're in their classroom. Be it class teachers, be it classroom friends, associates, parents of classroom friends. But yes, and if you're not careful, right? If both parents are not on the same wavelength, then that stuff can become a bit of a nuisance within the home. And if you're not careful, it can lead to imbalance in your children, so and in yourself as a result. So it's probably an idea to pass that by if one can. If one can avoid having that experience, yes, yeah, I'd recommend not having it. It was kind of nuts. It was nuts in the first place. Oh, what's this? The bubbles there.
It is difficult. It does add to the complexity if both parties are singing from very different pages.
Right.
Yeah. Now, Iani, can you hear yourself on this one?
You're just in the background, bro. I'm in the background. I'm inside a phone conversation where you're having the conversation, and then you can hear the person on the mic, but in the background.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm just listening to you.
Yeah,
Because when I
any
say
better?
what I'm saying, I then have to listen and wait for it to say it on Instagram for me to hear it back to you to tell you whether it's clear or not.
Well, I was just wondering if it was coming through now. I've changed the cable, but if not, there may be other means. Hang on.
Do you have a loopback feature in yours?
No.
Okay. Oh well. I do. Doesn't mean anything.
So at the moment, you can't hear nothing on a live. Are you there?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can you hear me with the echo on?
Let's have a look. Hang on.
Here we are with the echo on. Hello.
For the big one.
There's no echo on either. Yeah, no, you can't hear no echo. You don't hear echo, bruv. There's no echo, okay?
Right.
The equipment is broken, bruv, okay?
Oh, wait
There's
a
no
minute.
echo anymore.
Now tell me if
Where'd you
you're
find
hearing
it?
anything.
Okay, let me try.
How's that now? Are you picking anything up on the live now? Can you hear me on the live? Hello, 1 2 1 2.
Alright, I can hear you on the live.
Can you hear you on the live?
I can't hear me on the live. Hang on.
Are we gonna do that all night?
Yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it? All right. Well, it was just an idea. Obviously, that idea is not going to work. Thank you for passing through and just trying to facilitate with that little test. There's actually a live going on other platforms, so look out for it if you're just checking this out. Right, this may sound really random, but you just pass through. If you want to go check out the House of Lords, available on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. But thanks for passing through. We're out of it, especially on this app anyway.
Right.
We're on fire.
Maybe take this moment to do an advertisement or something. Where'd he go?
Who?
Carl, he popped off.
Did it? No, again.
Yeah, he popped off. He's not here. So, whilst he's not here, quickly move the furniture around. Move the door over to the left, right? So I'm sure there was a door right here. There he is. That's what happens when he didn't move the door, did you? So he found his way back in.
My goodness me.
How we doing, gents?
Excellent.
Hello.
Excellent.
He's
When you
gonna
left,
hear
we
you.
were
He's
like,
gonna hear you when he listens to the
furniture.
recording. Listen, he's gonna hear you when he listens to the recording.
I know. Oh dear. That's funny. It's funny.
Just am I bothered? Am I bothered?
You're gonna listen to it, don't worry.
I'll hear it. Somebody will tell me back because I stream the shows anyway. So I do want to thank everybody for just putting up with that little sound test, and I will explore that, and it is possible. I know it is possible. So I just need to find the right cable, and this will be a way forward. It will.
While we're learning how to do it, or you guys gonna learn too, so you can start your own podcast.
Exactly, yeah. Courses are like what, 99, 97. Yeah. We're selling them.
Yep. 99, 99, 99.
No.
Oh, you sounded so
big dollars,
Australian, so
99, 9900, 99 and 99 cents. Yeah, that's just good money spent, well spent on us. I mean, on yourselves. That's right. Yeah. Can you imagine? You're about to pay for this course and say, listen to the video, and so you've arrived here, and well done for choosing us, and money well spent, and there's no refund. So once you're in, you're in. How many have we got so far? 30. How much is that? 60 grand.
£1 million.
Oh, is it? It's a really all right. Then guess what? Yeah, we're done. We're full. We're full. Sorry. If you've put your money in under the last 24 hours, it's debatable whether you get it back, because we're real name. We're not Healing Help. We're actually Budget and Scarpa Productions. You budged it, we scarfed. That's budgetscarpa.com.
You sound serious.
Again, that's budgetscarpa.com.
He sounded so serious.
Who did?
Ihani.
Oh. Well, because I was nervous, you see. It's my first commercial on the radio. I mean, we are on the radio, aren't we? Yeah, it's my first commercial. And I was nervous. I just wanted to get it right, because I really like the way they sound. They sound all professional and stuff, and I just wanted to sound professional too. So that's why and Budget Scarpa is my first company. Do you know what I mean? And we're really good at what we do. Yeah. So just remember, budgetandscarpa.com for all your needs. Thanks.
There you go, gents and ladies. So what next?
Indeed. What next? You know something? So, what have we learned thus far? Ladies and gentlemen, quick recap. What have we learned thus far about communication amongst humanity? What have we learned? What do we know? Nothing? You know nothing? Okay. Anybody?
Any take?
Anyone?
I'm having a coffee fit. Come on, boys.
Oh, you're having a coffee? Then Marios. Brother Marios, take over.
I want to drink some water. One second.
Speak of the house. Oh, you're drinking water, so it's just down to me then. Okay. All right. Okay. So, what have we learned, ladies and gentlemen, so far? What we've learned thus far is that up until yesterday, right, we have been, up until like midday today, we have discovered that we've been doing a really crap job of communicating with each other. And here's what I mean. We've allowed the differences in tongues to confuse us as to the fact that we are one species. We have, in that confusion, we have mistaken resources, superpowers. We have mistaken utility for separatist types representation, i.e. melanin, length of hair, gender, all have been utilized, not in the melding and the growing and the progressing of humanity, but more in the division and the conquering of humanity. But this, as we know, we have discovered, does not actually occur in the physical, but more in the mental. So thus, you are the bastions of your mental. You have the keys to it. You will open or close it. You will allow those in. You will keep those out. The decision is yours, but yes, it lies with you all, myself included. That's all I have to say in this broadcast. For now, this is Eamon Andrews Junior saying good night for now. But I'll be back next week. Thanks. So, hang on, mate. Eamon, what were you doing? Were you talking on the mic just now? Dude, I said I was going to the toilet. Just watch what was going on. I didn't expect to hear you talking. Seriously, when your mum gets here, man, we're gonna have a word. Yeah. I don't think I can sponsor you anymore, man. Nah, done. No. You're a liberty taker. You're a young piss taker. That's all you are. Okay? All right, cool. Get out now. Get out of the studio. Thanks. Sorry about that. How's everybody? I'm back.
You see the
Someone
mayhem what
upset
happens
that
when
you
I just disappear for 5 minutes because I was losing a lung, and got the sweat on and everything. I'm sure my brothers here, the House of Lords, they understand what I mean, right? You know,
And you got a sweat on, did he?
something went down the wrong way, and I nearly brought
Yeah.
out my lung, and I got a sweat on, and just bedlam in slews on the House of Lords afterwards. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I got up to use the bathroom, and I told Winter Boy here to look after the place quietly, to sit quietly because he was all excited. I said, all right, then, just sit in the chair, say nothing. I'll be back. I leave. I tiptoe back and he's talking nonsense, so I had to kick him out. And so I have to apologise for those who heard him advertising whatever he was advertising, his company that he does with his mate, Budget Scarpa. It's about some dodgy. Don't purchase anything from him. He doesn't know anything. He's still in school.
Right.
Did you find that lung? Did you find your lung?
Yeah, I think
Find
I've
it.
just got rid of it. I got rid of it. It got stuck in my throat for a bit, but I think
okay.
I've got rid of it.
Get it
I
back
think I
down.
got
All
rid of it, which is great. But I don't know how long we've been going there because obviously I made a boo-boo there and I got disconnected. But however, I did, yeah. Obviously, when you turned around and you was all making fun of me when I weren't in the room, like I weren't even bothered.
He found the bloody door in the left, man.
Like, move the door. You won't know how to get in.
Right. Anyway, right. I'm setting it up. Right. I'm gonna load this one up. Iani, jump on the old gram, see what's going on. But ladies and gents, it is about that time for the right honourable and sensational Marius with what comes up.
What comes up? It's an interesting topic that we've been discussing. Conversations. But how is that connected to the emotional development? You know, misunderstanding of certain words that have been said is like they become so sensitive about it. But there was not. What's happening?
Marius, you're incredibly easily distracted. Keep going, my friend. Keep going. That weren't me, but keep going.
No, okay, that was weird. I was just listening to it. Keep going with it. Well, I was getting to the emotional side of how we become so sensitive with certain words just because that's acceptable now or not acceptable now because someone else decided. But ask yourself the question, why do someone else has to decide on my behalf what I think is sensitive or not, what's acceptable or not? Wouldn't that be great? Everyone to be allowed to decide what's sensitive, looking at themselves instead of just pointing fingers at everyone around. It's their fault. They didn't know how to address me. They should know how to address me. How should they know? You have to let people know how you want to be addressed if you don't want to be offended, emotionally triggered. Yeah, that's what comes up.
All right. Well, there you had it, ladies and gents. It's short and brief and sweet from the Right Honourable Marius there about what comes up.
And it's through our immersion in our own experience. I can't stress that enough because you are the architect. You are the pilot of your journey. You're the actor, the thespian. Now, you could take the lead role and talk into said Yorick's head, or you could be a little extra at the back that doesn't have many lines at all and doesn't like to be seen. A meek little butterfly. It is your choice. Completely your choice. Now, the insightful aspect of all of that is you now are aware, you have been made privy to, again, like you heard me say the other day, you are now illuminated into the insightfulness of your possibility, where you therefore are the architect, you are the director, you are the key star, or if you wish, the quiet little extra of your own existence. That in itself is insightful. Fascinating.
So how have you found this conversation about competition then, Mary?
About what?
Giraffes. Giraffes. How have you enjoyed our conversation about giraffes?
What drafts? What are you talking about?
How have you enjoyed our conversation about conversation? All right, I'll give up. Have I been transported to a parallel universe or something? I'm fucking confused. But it don't take much, I suppose. Yeah, I'm confused. But hey, that's what we had from the Right Honourable Marius here with what comes up. You know, moving swiftly on the question I was asking you, Marius, how have you enjoyed the conversation about our conversation?
It was great.
Thanks.
Of course I enjoyed it. I was like, I should then. Anyway. Of course it was great.
I'm glad.
As I
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
For the listener, I mentioned also for the listeners that there is a lot of nuggets that you just dropped, so people can do the introspection based on what you just shared. We can learn from each other. That doesn't mean you know it all, or I have nothing to learn, or there is always value in conversation if it's the right conversation.
Indeed. How about yourself? There, you seem to be coming to a natural close.
Oh no, I'm just I'm just listening quietly and enjoying the depth. Really, I mean, I'm enjoying the fact that there has been an exploration simply into the very art, the very action of conversation. Did you know that, for example, there's a lot of the younger generation now a study was done. They said that they were more comfortable speaking amongst themselves when they are on their devices, when they're behind the little webcam or the computer camera or the laptop cam, the FaceTime, the duos. These people are more comfortable having conversations with people in this format. They are uncomfortable and find themselves with an anxiety if they are in the public. They're in public, meeting people like in a coffee shop or something. They can't do that. They can't do the public face-to-face. Now, my question is, has this happened over the last 4.5 years? Or has this been a longer standing issue in the West? Because really the focus here currently is the West when it comes to this particular type of statistic. So, yeah, gentlemen, because clearly part of communication, part of speaking amongst each other, part of learning and growing comes from the exchange of information, ideals, notions and stuff amongst the community. If the community has to learn protocols, more protocols, so they were speaking, so learning to talk was the first protocol. Now, not only have they learned to talk, now they have to be able to be proficient texters. They also have to be able to utilize the keyboard, the QWERTY keyboard, in the right way in order to deliver a passage of typed dialogue into the digital cyber space, right? So there's all this thing. They have to have accounts. They have to have accounts on actual on apps, accounts on sites prior to having a conversation with their friends. So all of a sudden it went from just meeting each other in the street, on the bus, having a convo, in the park, pie mash shop, wherever, having your conversation in front of each other. And now you're having to have accounts online, digital accounts, in order for you to feel comfortable to speak.
It's an interesting point you bring forward, Yanni, especially with this idea, is it a recent thing? From my personal experience, I said no, it's not a recent thing. I've seen it with my own children, and being alive by the time that we've been alive. Excuse me. I've seen a very sharp dip in the use of the English language. If you take into account the works of Lord Byron, for instance, or Shakespeare, this theatrical ability to paint with the English language is taken a nosedive. And again, harping back to your point, has technology got a hand to play in that? Does it have to admit its own part it played in the decline within dialect? For the simple reason we see the abbreviative text, as opposed to a grammatically correct sentence. It would be the shortened BRB for be right back, or the LAMFO or whatever it is, laugh my arse off, etc.
But does technology have a hand in that, or is that not us? Is that not humanity that is actually, because technology can sit there and without our interaction it plays no part. So in order for the grammar to be repurposed on the text, we have to have picked up the device in the first place. And then we have to have followed a particular guideline in order to get that information across, to get our small, stunted points across. We have to then abide by the conformities that we face whilst doing that. We have succumbed to the idea that text is a quicker way of delivering the intent. But the details are lost. The finesse.
Yes, I would agree
Lost.
with that wholeheartedly. It's very sterile. Yeah, that's the right word. And anybody that knows me, Marius is a stickler for it. He knows I don't really do text. I'm not a fan of texting because of that very point. So much is lost in a text: the subtle nuances, the cadence, the expressions. And when you're in the business the kind of we're in, being able to listen to somebody's tonality and listening to the space in between words of what is not being said, to a well-trained ear and a good mind, it tells you volumes about the individual you're speaking to and their state of being. Now, with a text, you lose all of that. Well, I say you lose all of it. You lose a large portion of it. It's a very different way of communicating. You need to become very astute on kind of the dialectics used through texts, be able to be vigilant to what's avoided and what's not being said to give you indications of what the issues are at hand. But again, I suppose you are right, because as much as a convenience as tech is, it gives us all of the prompts, all of the tools necessary to explore. And as a dyslexic, somebody whose spelling is extremely questionable, the idea of speech to text is phenomenal. Even when you come across words off another individual's text and you don't know what the meaning is, depending on the technological device. Anybody who's got a smartphone, it's either Hey Siri, Hey Google, or whatever the AI chat help assistant is, and you'll say, what's this word mean? And it will tell you. You can, and if you wanted like artistic preference, you could say, I'm looking for a word that would describe this kind of thing. And again, depending on the technological device you've got there, it will give you a short list of ways one can explore themselves and become a lot more artistic with their expressions. And so is it a people thing? I can only resort back to, I don't know if it was my son or one of my daughters. When I turned around and said, why don't you, he was trying to get hold of a friend, and they wouldn't reply to the text or his phone calls. I said, why don't you just go knock for him? His mother and I had said, why don't you just go knock for him? And I think him and one of my daughters went, and that was their response. Nobody does that. That's weird. And it just gives you an indication of how society and culture has changed profusely since we were children. And I don't consider myself old in that sense, but we knocked for people. We didn't have that phone. We had to ask, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if Simon could come out. The dad could be there and he'd be like, hello, well, you're not going to my door for it. You're like, oh, fucking hell. Right? He'd say, is he in there? And he'd go, no, he's out. Do you know where? He went out with his bike with the ginger kid. And that is, you're like, oh, right, yeah, it'll be such and such. And then you're off on your bike, and you may drive around for an hour, ride around for an hour before you see that pile of bikes. Do you know what I mean? The pile of bikes somewhere. It's like, oh, there they are. And that's what we did when we made a phone call. If we was at home, if you had the privilege of having a phone at home, you would have to ring, and it was the big old dial,
right round, and if you missed it, you had to start again.
Again.
And you know, it'd be an adult that would answer the phone. You know, and their answers used to be cool. You used to get sort of like, you know, the right gruff hello, and then you get the Mrs. Bouquet, you know, hello 224 the Bouquet residence, and you're like, what? You live in the block of flats over the road? Is John there? You know what I mean? But you wouldn't say that. You go, hello, Mr. Jones, is John there? Like, yes, I'll just get him. Is that you? Yes. But you had to do that, and that's actually what taught you. You know, going and knock for your friends in the morning. The parents would like, all right, come in, and this is what you're doing today, and you know, like through previous conversations, you know, if you didn't act right, if you didn't conduct yourself right, then it could be problematic, not just for you, but for your friend.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want you speaking to him again. He's an idiot. You know, all of that kind of complicated, subtle nuances from various family groups. But that's what gives us our dexterity. I could surmise that's what gives us our confidence to be able to go into these places and speak and be heard.
Yep.
But again, it's something that isn't done. You know, my own kids' confessions. If they can't get hold of you by the phone, they're not coming to see you.
You know, you were reminding me when you were speaking.
It sounds so long ago, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It sounds like some time back, many moons ago, when the world was still turning. 3 young boys used to go out into the wilderness and have adventures and find their way, sometimes going under gullies or cross bridges, sometimes traversing cars amongst roads, but always ending up with a pile of friends, a pile of bikes, and having good old-fashioned fun.
Climbing the trees.
Trees like little monkeys that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we'll get to that. Climbing
Trees, scaffolding, and everything else.
Yeah, enjoying the odd scrumping when there was an orchard or two to be had.
I'm going to tell you a story, right? Now, Yanni, Scrumpy, right? Now, one of my brothers, one of my foster brothers, right? He was a naval officer, chief petty officer, right? On Her Majesty's Trident, the nuclear subs. And I went and stayed with him once. And it was military quarters, military housing. And I think it was over in Plymouth or Portsmouth, somewhere like that. And I was only young. But all the kids on this estate were officers' children. So I'm not putting a stereotype out there. You paint your own picture. I'm not fucking doing it for you. Right? So you get the kind of personality type that's being generated in your head. I didn't do it. Right? And this kind of foster council kid that kind of knows these people, but don't. So I meet up with these kids for the summer, and I must be there for 3 days by this point, maybe 3 days. And I didn't best like my brother's wife, but I was young. So I met up with some of the kids on this estate, and we, would do what kids do, young kids do. You go on adventures, you go out for hikes and walks out into the middle of nowhere. And we come across this lovely walled garden. There was these big old juicy apples. Our kid knew you'd marry us at Yarny. They look like volleyballs. They were obviously cooking apples, right? But they were just massive and juicy and delicious. And some of the kids that was with us was like, oh, I want one of them. But they wouldn't get up on this wall. Now, I didn't know any better because I weren't from around there. And nobody foretold me about the person whose garden this was. And being a kid from South London, it's like, what's the matter? You just jump up on a fucking wall. right? And they're like, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm not doing that. And obviously, this little frigging blonde-haired cocksure himself kid, you know, myself, gets up on this frigging wall. I'm passing apples down to people. I'm a fucking hero. Yeah, have apple. A bit of puff, yeah. Have apple, right? And then all I hear was, "Here, get down!" Right, from this old woman, and I was like, "Whoa, yeah, that's time to chip out." So you just jump off the wall, and you don't think nothing of it, right? And then we're walking back up towards where we were kind of staying, where we were from, and I hear this woman, right? I hear like the car, right? I swear, I'm not kidding you, right? Strike me down dead if I tell you a lie. Right, this woman's come out of her fucking drive like she was Batfink. Right, she's off, right, and she's up the road and she's gunning for us. So kids being kids, right, we're on our toes. Right? And I'm running down the road and this woman starts mounting the pavement. Right, trying to run me over for nicking her apples, right? You get to the end of the road, it's a T-junction. On the other side of that T-junction, there's a grass verge, right? And there's a few little gaps in this grass verge where you can get into the state behind, right? So I managed to make it to this gap with this woman and her horn and on the pavement and right. Nobody's got no apples left, you know, because they got, you know, you lose that right as you're running. So I'm up into the state. Right now, she can't get through there, right? So I think nothing else of it. And so we're all kind of sat in the naval quarter, kind of married barracks, on a wall laughing. And nah, this woman isn't finished, mate. Nah, she's straight into the barrack drives. Went on. She's straight in there, boy. I'm straight in the house. No, I'm out of here. Into the house. No, she's coming, like on the door. I'm like, no, I don't need this. And like my brother, chief petty officer, like I said, you know, has got a certain reputation to hold. And yeah, he answered the door, and this woman's kind of tearing him a new arse, and he's like, I'm awfully sorry. Yeah, we'll get it sorted. This, that, and the other, you know. And yeah, they packed my bags and fuck, I was on the station the next day. I kid you not, my brother sent me back home to Peckham. For nicking apples, for getting caught. They didn't care that the old lady tried to run me down and she was up on the pavement and she tried to kill half a dozen kids. No, I got sent home because like I nicked an apple. And for years I thought, no, I don't like my brother. That particular brother, tosser. I love him a bit now, but at the time I was like, well, you sent me home for scrumping. That's the most shittest thing ever. You're meant to be my brother, you know? Granted, he was like nearly 20 years older than me, so he most probably saw it a bit different, you know?
Yeah.
Just a little caveat there on scrumping, sorry.
Great one, man. I loved it.
Oh, that was good.
Good memories, man. Great memories having that.
Yeah.
Took me back to England. I was back in England when you were talking about that.
Yeah. Anyway. So, gentlemen.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure conversation about conversation and the ability to hold one. I hope some of the listeners have enjoyed. What?
Yeah, we still have.
Hold on. The show is still going. What's going on?
Yes, we still have to go to, you know, to a wonderful brother. You know.
These men don't sleep, ladies and gentlemen. Help me.
Listen.
Help me.
We still have to go, you know, hit the pinboard with Carl. So there you go, Carl.
Well, I mean, okay. Really, Marius?
Well, I was going to say, was that my introduction?
Was that it? Was that the intro?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was shit. It was shit.
That wasn't. He just found it. He found a soggy paper bag.
It was shit, man. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, mate. Yeah.
But that's why I say Yanni. But you know. Yeah.
Why me? All the time.
Marius, if Marius, if you keep passing the baton, mate, how are you meant to sharpen your steel?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Ladies and gentlemen, look, Barris, I'm going to again take an opportunity now to sharpen my knife and say, gentlemen, you know what time it is, don't you, huh? I'm sure you do. Well, if you're unsure, then please, I want to give a warm welcome for our Right Honourable Brother Carl as he hits the pinboard.
Well,
That was great.
you know, that was a bad move on my part. I do apologise. Right there and all. Right there. Hit the pinboard. Yeah, hit the pinboard. What have we got on the pinboard today? Reluctance. That's what's on the pinboard. Reluctance. Reluctance. Yeah, seriously, reluctance. Right? And what that reluctance is a reluctance in people. A reluctance in people to push themselves outside of the comfort of their own zone. At the very art of conversation, we express some views tonight that could be quite touching. Nothing too strenuous, but just various little subjects to help explore this very nature of life. There's been points where Iani's expressed something. I don't necessarily agree with everything. There's been points where Marius has discussed something. He doesn't necessarily agree with everything, and vice versa. And we can express those differences and explore each other's comprehensions without fear of reprisal or being misunderstood as if one's being aggressive or disrespectful. And even if there is a feeling of disrespect, with the ability to linguistically express your discomfort, 9 times out of 10, you'll find that there weren't none intended in the first place. So being able to unpack the dichotomy of your own internalized thoughts and emotion and deliver them in a linguistic practice that could be understood, comprehended, that is clear and concise, enlightens everybody involved. But it comes down to a will, a want, an aspiration to move behind the confines of the programming that you've been exposed to. You have been psychologically conditioned that those that speak on lofty subjects out of their social standing are some form of tough wannabe. To ridicule you and condition you for those that think outside of the collective narrative, that choose books over light-hearted, vacuous entertainment. So again, it comes down to you as an individual and the perseverance and strength of your character to unpack the wonder, the mystery, and the potential of yourself. Just by unpacking and unleashing your desire to explore the possibilities of expression beyond what you are capable of at this moment in time will put you in good stead for a lifetime. So don't be like everybody else that is reluctant to step outside of their comfort. Grab hold of the insecurity that restrains you from entering a conversation because you don't think you're adept enough to comprehend the topic, or even linguistically capable of doing so. Like we just pointed out to Marius, if you do not entertain in the art, you will never develop the skill. We all start from somewhere. There is no, I'm better than you. We all are unique. We're all on a journey, each and every one of us. So let go of those internalized fears that you're not capable or it's not for you. There's people in this world that make rather draconian rules and rather legal doublespeak within laws and statutes and policies that people have to conform to on the oversight of a draft. But with the right comprehension and the right understanding of the doublespeak and legalese that is used to put these things forward, you'll begin to see and award yourself the insight that through the understanding and the comprehension of dialectics and the way they use words, you begin to free yourself from the very thing that they use to manipulate you. But again, you need to let go of your reluctance and your comfort. That's what's on the pinboard, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the House of Lords.
That was beautiful.
Well, that's biased of you because
Can you
you
do something
think
for
I'm
me?
beautiful. What can I do for
Can
you,
you-
mate?
Can you press that button with your clothes, please?
That's not me. That was a Yanni.
What?
There you go.
And that was the Right Honourable Carl. Hit the pinboard. Hit.
Hit.
Oh,
Well,
what?
we're losing you a bit there, mate.
You were? Oh, I was just because I was pretending to be hit. Like I was an object that was being hit.
I
And
see.
as I was being hit, I was hit out of frame. So you're here talking and get hit. Wait, you know what I mean? What happens? So you don't can't just stand up like a tree, something. But yeah, oh yeah, I watched the spoiler alert. So I watched the So yeah, so I think the blacklist is completed. It's over. I think they've recorded everything, released everything, and was that Wind? And then what's his name? Spader. Great job. Did a great job, James Spader. Great job. As Raymond Reddington. Literally the heaviest criminal going, right? And yet was the most loved individual. An amazing portrayal of it all, with loads and loads of little nuggets for those who choose to listen and can see. So yeah, that's the blacklist.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'll tell you what, I did watch one today. It was quite strange. What it called Spaceman with Adam Sandler? A new film, 2023. It was a bizarre one, but a good one. I think. It kept me watching it, and I was engrossed. It was what's the word I'm looking for? Cinematic. What's the word I'm looking for? Cinematic. There you go. It had a very cinematic approach to it, the way it was shot, and it was well done. And it was something that I wasn't expecting from this particular actor. Generally, he plays like the goofy characters and slightly quirky characters, but this one, yeah, he was Spaceman.
Spaceman. Okay.
Yeah.
I was saying.
It's about this chap. He's on a mission. A solo voyage to one of these beautiful orc cloud type things, but it's a solo mission. He's out there for a year or so, and a person in isolation for a year, starts to play funny tricks on it, and he goes through it, But again, the reason why I enjoyed it because there's a slight little twist in it, but I don't do the spoiler thing. And
it's not the you versus you kind of situation.
In a sense, but more introspection on the quality of our actions and why we aren't present within the best moments of our life. It's generally we look back at hindsight in some form of remorse, and when we look back the situation that we miss, we find ourselves not being present in that. You know, if we truly recognize the moment, you know, you're thinking about something else or next week, you're not quite invested in the beauty and the wonder and the uniqueness of that particular moment, and we lose sight of the beauty that's in front of us while we're busy doing something else. You know, we forget that what is most important. So yeah, I won't give you no more than that, but that's kind of what I took from it, and it was good. It was good. It was kind of a nice, chill film, with a bizarre kind of twist.
Nice.
Well,
Gentlemen, I need to relieve myself. To relieve myself in the bathroom. In one moment.
Nice.
The fact that you said that it's good, I'm looking forward to watch it and then to have a discussion about it.
Yeah, do you know what? A discussion could be had about that film, and again, I won't go into it, but a discussion certainly could be had, especially for some of the perspectives that were shared in the film in hindsight of past events. It certainly evoked questions within myself as I looked back at various events and how I was even processing them myself. So like I said, that was a bit like the conversation that we were talking about earlier on, and the benefits of a good conversation. In this instance, this particular film evoked introspection on how I related to my own emotions and historical events within my own past. And yeah, I suppose that's what I enjoyed about it, really.
What do you say, Johan? We watch it and then have a discussion, the three of us? That would be an interesting one.
Iani was off to the toilet, wasn't he?
Was it?
Well, yes, he said he was going to relieve himself into the bathroom.
I didn't hear it. Didn't hear it.
What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not predisposed. Kind of distracted, Marius, this evening. Are you all right? Everything going all right in your world?
I'm okay.
All right. You see, ladies and gentlemen, that lets me know that I'm going to have a conversation with my learned friend off air. Because that okay, and I'll give this one to the ladies, that okay, in that term, is an indication that not everything is tickety-boo, is it? But it takes an astute ear to, don't just settle for okay when it's straight out the back. So many of us do that. So many of us. Are you okay? Oh yeah, I'm fine. Behind closed doors, sobbing and dying inside. But if you was to turn around, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah. All right. Are you sure? And then there's a tear or a slight break. Well, tell me all about it. Come on, sit down. But again, that is developing that art of conversation, because through that art, you expand one's comprehension and one's compassion.
It's so true. But that's where the connection happens, right?
There's many, my friend. Right, so who have we got?
Is there a deeper?
Oh, there he is.
Is there a deeper? Is there a deeper aspect about communication, about conversation that hasn't been explored?
I don't.
That beyond the spoken word. That starts with the intention. That is and that which is received. with the same vibration?
Oh, well, that's a very good question. Marius, guess what? I reckon that is certainly that kind of introspection, philosophical viewpoint that can only be shed light, can only be held aloft by the one and only Right Honourable and Learned
There you go.
Yanni. With tip of the day, Yanni,
That was
explore that.
Beautiful.
Explore that.
That was great, man.
Tip of the day. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tip of the Day here. Tip of the day. You know really what a tip of the day is? Do more to communicate. Do more to communicate with those that you're unfamiliar with. Reach out and relieve some of that fear, some of that unknowing, by actually taking a moment to see who your neighbor may be, to see who that person is that you see every day at the bus stop, but you don't say anything. You look on the floor, and now there's 4 chewing gums when there was only 3 yesterday, and now there's a big bubblicious sitting there. But you don't know the person's voice. Yeah, maybe do more to reach out to your neighborhood. Say hello. Look up. Look off the ground. Look up and look in the eyes of those who are walking past you, not with a mean mug stare. No, but with a, you all right? With a hello. With a good morning. Or a good day. Just with your eyes. And actually say the word as you look at them. Good day. And go past with a smile. That's communication. See, we have to do more. Well, we don't have to do what you want, really. But let's consider doing more. Because where we are right now, does this reek of a well-connected, well-communed species, populace? Does it? Let's have a look now. No, it doesn't. So why don't we all embark on a new journey together, all of us. We're all in it. And let's reach out to that person that we see but we don't know. We won't bother to say hello. Maybe it's the guy. You're a young lady. Maybe it's that guy, that handsome young guy that you wanted to say hello to, but he's just a little bit nervous. You think he's got a girlfriend when he hasn't. And he's straight. He's not gay. So just remember that. So just go and ask him. Communicate. Hello. All right. Go and ask them. My name is Sarah.
Susan.
What's your name? Oh,
Simon.
my name's Paul. They call me Plum down the road. All right. They call me Silly.
Going off the rails, Marius. He's going off the rails.
Sorry.
Big time.
Actually, no, my bad. I'm just... no, tip of the day, really. Do your best.
No, buddy. No, do your best.
Never
That's
laugh.
tip of the day.
Never laugh.
That's tip of the
Do your
day.
best.
Yeah,
Do
do
your
your
best.
best.
Do your best. Do your best.
Never laugh.
Tip of the day, right? When it comes to communication, let's just see if we can go further than we have so far. It's 2024, right? We see where we are, right? So let's take it upon ourselves. Let's just be responsible ourselves, even if we think that we're doing a great job right now, right? If we think we've done a spectacular job and we always reach out, let's do more. Let's go further. As my brother Marius says, let's go deeper. Go deeper. That's my tip of the day.
Deeper and deeper.
Do more. Tip of the day. Do more
Yeah.
to communicate with those around you, basically.
I
Tip
love
of the
that, mate. I love that. I do. We were giggling, but we were all laughing. We were all laughing. All right, and that's what it's about. And rightly so. The best tip came after doing what you were doing, and it was like, do your best, look. You know what I mean? I'm doing it. I'm pushing forward. Give me a break. Do your best. You know what I mean? Give yourself a break. So I love that, mate. I love that.
Yeah,
So, gentlemen, any kind of final words? You know, where we're going to be seen? Right? Yeah. In fact, I could do that myself. You beautiful souls, you know what crack is by now, right? If you want to email us, right, no matter where you're hearing this, your email status is the same, so you've got no excuses, and it is the House of Lords 3@gmail.com. That is the House of Lords number 3@gmail.com. You can check us out on YouTube. If you put in at the House of Lords, you'll find us straight away. Alternatively, you can get yourself on Spotify or Amazon Music, or if you're a little podcast junkie, go and download the app iHeartRadio, and we are all over that as well. But that being said, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure once again delving deep into the crevices of our darkened mind to shed light.
It's been a good one. Been a good enlightening one. I think our last two. Well, what this? Oh, sorry. Was that the builders finishing? Okay. The painter
That
decorator.
was just my gadget falling off my table. That's all. One of the gadgets falling off the table, hence the band decor.
Thought there was some construction going on in there. Your new Batcave or something. Sure. Well, okay. Well, there you go for now. Or were you levitating something and then you just looked around and just dropped down? Come on.
I'm not going to tell you what I was doing. I'm not going to tell you what I was doing because it was rude.
We go.
Ladies and gentlemen, he was on his.
Yeah, that's it. That's what's going on. Wow. Right, gents, fill in the blanks. I don't know what's going on with these. Right. I know Yanni's done lots of music. Marius is new to this whole podcasting thing, right? I'm not saying I'm no pro or anything, but I've dabbled. You know, I've dabbled in the background with a bit of radio, a bit of stuff like that. You know, a bit of stuff like that, a bit of disc jockey, play some music. Have a good old parlay with people that will phone in and everything else. And there's things, especially within the radio. It's called dead air. You know, it's that. It's shite, isn't it? You see, that's what they call dead air. And I do believe that my two learned gentlemen still quite not grasping that notion. You know, people are listening to this while they're at work. They're not listening to fucking silence.
Not grasping the notion of dead air. But you know, when I was when I worked at MTV, in the UK, this kid that was working for MTV at the time, some kid, right, basically took the entire network. He took the network off like 5 minutes, mate. It was black screen for 5 minutes because the dude was super drunk. And pulled out these. Just walked to a place where he shouldn't have. Pulled on some cables that he shouldn't have.
Okay.
Just shouldn't have done it. And off. Other people got blamed unnecessarily and by mistake, and all hell was kind of tried to break loose. Newspapers, the whole bit. But yeah, I remember that dead air thing, and I just said to myself, imagine for the first time. Right, it was just a black screen on MTV for like about 5 minutes across Europe, England, and Europe. I was like, that's bad. Nah.
Well,
Well, it's thousands of pounds within the industry. It's
Yes.
thousands of pounds
Yes.
because every second is accounted for. Every space, every minute, is programmed to the clock. This show comes on at that time. The news starts at this time. Shit or bust. Those timestamps got to be met.
You'd think that would be an international standard, right, in TV presentation, yeah? So imagine my surprise, because I've never seen it in England happen. I've never seen it happen on any of the TV stations where there are commercials like ITV, Channel 4, I think you have an ITV5, I don't know whether they have new commercials on. But the one thing I always noticed about British television was that everything was literally to the second. Everything, commercials, bumpers, titles, you name it, everything to the second. So when you watch television in any way, shape or form, if you were watching something, it was a smooth, efficient stream. It lets you know there was a fade to black, and then up came the show name or what have you, whatever the title, picture, graphic was, fade to black, and then into the commercial, right? So I thought that seems to be like a standard thing. I come to now my friend Paul Foster, when I was a kid, when I was about say like 10, he and his family, they moved to America, right? And so I was still in London, so they moved to America. We didn't see them for a couple of years or something like that. Anyway, we came back a few years later, and he and I are talking, right? And we were still young, really young. And he's talking about American TV, right? He said, it's crazy. I said, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, 1 minute you're watching a movie, right? He goes, yeah. He said, in the next frame, he goes, it's biscuits, buy them. Like this, right? And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, there's nothing, there's no space. So, for the longest, right? So I'm thinking about this back then. He was telling me this one where I mean, maybe we got back when I was like 12 or 13, maybe like something like that. So 13, 14. So we're talking about it then, right? So I've got some more of a concept of the TV in England, understanding the commercials, and understood what he was saying. Was able to picture exactly that. And it seemed weird to me, but I never experienced it until I came to the States. I watched a bit of TV, mate. Heads would have rolled off long time ago. There would have been contracts would have been broken and ducked and chucked out, because you're seeing a commercial. I've seen commercials come in the first 5 seconds and then cut off, just like my voice was. 1 minute you're there, you're talking, you think you're about to watch the commercial, and it's nothing. And you're like, what happened? And they literally just 5 seconds in, cut it, and now you're back to whatever it was you were watching in some almost haphazard. Almost. I say almost because it felt very clunky when you're watching. Like, hang on. What are you trying to communicate there? What are you trying to show us, mate? What are you trying to show us? You're trying to show us that your TV, you don't know how to read a clock. You don't know how to time anything to the second. You're just throwing it out there and you're guessing. All right, in we go. Yeah, but the adverts are, I don't care. In we go. All right. And to me, it just looks horrible. It does. It's bad. It's bad. The amount of times, no matter who knows me, the amount of times I'd be saying, man, head would roll in England if this was English TV. Oh my God, people would be fired there and then. You'd hear it as well. Get out in one ear, what's the other ear? Calm down, Barry. Get the fuck out of the studio.
It would be, wouldn't it? It would be, what kind of Mickey Mouse shit is this?
Exactly. Well, here's what's funny, what you just said there. What kind of Mickey Mouse shit? It's quite funny because where's Mickey Mouse from? It's interesting that we use that England uses that dialogue, that term. Anyway, you have to be there.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, it is that English slur, I suppose, because it isn't a good one, is it? What kind of Mickey Mouse shit is this? It means a half-assed, bodged up, fucking cartoon-like approach.
See, but I remember earlier on we were talking about what's that company's name again? Budget and Scarpa.
Yeah, Budget and Scarpa have got a proper Mickey Mouse approach.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the duo. I think there was a drum and bass duo or hardcore duo in the UK called Budget and Scarpa. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the real Budget and Scarpa. The real Budget and Scarpa. The ones who come in and look who's playing with their toys again. He's playing with toys, Marius. See, this is what happens. Right. 1 minute we're talking like adults, but the next minute you see boys. See, look. Why did you say that? Why did you? Why did you say that? Why's my cat?
I don't know what happened. There's some out of body experience or whatever. A bit like your character earlier on, Ian, that just tipped out halfway through.
Oh, sorry.
But where have I heard that saying? That it just popped in. It presented itself to me. It was a film or something. Might have even been an old drum and bass song. Oh dear me! See, do you know what I was talking about? I was talking about the House of Lords podcast earlier on live, and I described it like this: if you like a bit of conversation, right, you'll get some, light-hearted, jokey conversation. You'll get some deep philosophical conversation, and then you'll get some triggering, quite offensive conversation. But it's all rolled up into a beautiful package.
You're great.
Oh, for art thou, Yorick.
You're on fire
tonight. I don't know, sweetie. I really don't. I don't know. I suppose the piano music is helping.
No, it's the mood that you were prior to that. I think I said, remember, that will bring the best in you.
But that's this fucking shit state of affairs to be in, isn't it? When I'm cantankerous and grumpy, that's when the best comes in. No, that's not good.
No.
Well, like I said, it's not for everybody.
It's just being
I've
human,
enjoyed the
man.
comment.
That's all. Just being human, being able to have the moment, just explore it.
I'm certainly an acceptance of not having no fucking choice. But I digress. Gentlemen, I hand the mic over to you. Boom. Boom.
He's gone again.
Right, yeah. Sorry, I'm attending to a sort of a mini emergency, but nothing too drastic. I'm just kind of attending to something right now. But yeah, I'm here. No, I'm in it. What? Is this it? What's it? What's going on? Is this it?
Well, fucking come down, guy.
Is this it? 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 Ladies and gentlemen.
For this time, yes.
For this time.
What?
Nothing more.
Ooh.
How long has it been?
Well, it says 161 minutes. Now it's 162. So
oh, that's a great length.
It's a good time, isn't it? What's that?
I don't know, that's a bit much.
2 hours. What's that? 2 hours? No, 2 hours. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Almost 3, not quite 3 hours. We've done 3.5 before, mate.
Hold down 3.5 an hour.
We've done 3.5, bruv. We've done 3.5 already.
We talked about we've done 3.5 hours talking.
Oh, what?
It's
Hey, what
3.5 hours talking, isn't it?
No, it's only 2.5 right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well done.
66, 2 6 to 12, right?
Yeah.
3 6 over 18, right?
Yeah.
So we're not on 18, we're on 16. We're on 1 6 2. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? I was in Mr. Butterclutch's class just like you, bruv. So, you know what I mean?
Well-
You should be knowing. You was in the front.
Well, I
Using
was in
front,
it, but
mate.
I weren't paying attention. I was being fingered by Darren.
Darren was fingering you.
Yeah, you were well, Joe, innit?
I didn't know you was fingered by him.
Yeah, he proper bowling me in maths.
Oh, nasty little, you nasty little slapper. What are you doing?
Oh, well fun, innit?
Yeah, it's fun right there. Wait, what did you wipe on the chair?
No, Darren wiped his fingers on the sir's black jacket.
Oh, nasty. So he had a bit of spooge on the back of his jacket, did he?
I
Yeah, a
wouldn't
little
call
spooge
it.
stain.
I wouldn't call it a bit of spooge. It was like loads. It looked like a rhino had sneezed on his back.
Oh, mate.
Monk everywhere. There was
Monk
monk
everywhere?
everywhere.
What'd they say? What did the teachers say? They must have said something to him.
Well, we don't know. We just left the bell went, innit?
Oh, fucking hell, mate. You don't get up to it, man. Really get up to it. God.
I didn't get up to it. Darren did, though.
You tempted? But if it was all splat,
I don't know what's going on. Come back.
Well, whatever's going on is just the goodies are always at the end, so only the listeners that go all the way till the end can
See?
taste
That's right.
the laughter.
Only the true loyal fans like Sandy. It's only people like Sandy, and then the Sandy's really want to hear at the end. Saying, I'm going to listen to this bit, so that when I finish, I'm going to tell them that I heard you, three amigos. But we heard you back. We're going to come up with a, you know what we should do?
Yes.
We should find that tune that Travolta sings in Greece. Cindy, might you see?
That was really bad.
Sorry.
Oh. I don't know, sometimes I find myself in these dark places, surrounded by innocents. I don't know why. What did I do? I know I did something. I repent.
I'm sorry, but it's a bit
We're
late.
gonna need we're gonna need Sandy's expertise at the end of the podcast.
Yes.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
All ears? Is that it? You're just all ears, nothing else?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
it?
just all
Fucking
ears.
hell,
That's
no
it.
nose.
I walk with my lower lobes.
You walk with your lower lobes. How'd you see? You don't. You're blind. Like a bat.
My eardrums.
You're like
My
a bat.
eardrums, isn't it?
Yeah,
My
like,
eardrums.
you're like Daredevil, aren't you? Blind as fuck, but you can see everything, yeah?
I don't like where this is going. Stop it. Fucking stupid. I was meant to be doing something really clever, really insightful, but with this cunts.
Wait, hold on. Hang on. I thought it was Marius that did the insightful stuff. And then clever stuff. I think that was that for you, so yeah, I don't have any particular role.
In this.
I don't
What?
have
Stop.
I don't know. I don't know.
Who are they? Who are they? I know them.
Marius.
Who am I? You
Marius.
don't recognize me? Marius.
Luke,
Yes.
I'm your father.
No, listen. First of all, Luke, it is I. Say that to you. Luke, I am your father. You see? It is I that says that in the movie, not you, Luke. You have the young voice. You do this bit. No!
funny.
Ulysses, I want you to stay here with Telemachus. Watch over the crew and cryostatus. We are venturing forth to Earth. You shall be revisiting the Eden and see where the Lulu has arrived.
Bollocks to that, mate. I'm off.
You would, wouldn't you? You'd be, fuck that, see you later, I'm off. I don't know where that come from.
Oh, Telemachus.
That's it. Do you remember that program, Ulysses? It used to be a cartoon. Yeah.
Ulysses.
Ulysses.
Yeah, it's like some singing, happy singing. Yeah, I remember that.
Freaky cartoon.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but anyway.
No, it's okay.
What type of cartoons did you have in Romania?
Communist cartoons.
That was communist Russian cartoons. Well, yeah. Well, mostly was what we were watching was Popeye, Nozayets Pagadi. That was a Russian. And a couple of Romanian ones, but yeah, we didn't have this Western version that you guys were watching.
So did you have things like, do you have any like Tom and Jerry or?
You still got that thing on your voice, mate.
Oh, my bad. Did you have Tom and Jerry?
Tom and Jerry was after the revolution, not prior.
Oh.
Because revolution was in 1989.
So then, what did you have instead?
As I told you, there was some Russian.
Did you have like a communist Popeye?
No. Communist Popeye. That's a fucking it.
Proper dubbed, do you know what I mean? Proper dubbed propaganda.
Oh, the fuck.
You can see it now, couldn't you? You know, where Popeye is Mother Russia, and who was the other guy, the baddie in Popeye?
Oh yeah, Brutus.
Yeah, Brutus being USA and everybody else in the West. You know, I can imagine these kind of communistic cartoons where there's these caricatures of people from the West.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that would be rather. See, any cartoonists out there, do you know what I mean? You're gonna make a name for yourselves and and some millions. Then you should just start knocking out those types of cartoons.
We used to watch Gopov.
Who?
What was it? Gopov.
Gopov.
No, man, Gopov.
What? Gopov.
Gopov. Who's Gopov?
Well, it's a Romanian version of silent cartoon sort of thing.
Was it a version of a silent cartoon, or was it a Romanian silent cartoon? What the fuck?
It was a Romanian one.
Right, so that's a silent cartoon. And that was Romanian.
You fucking asshole.
I'm sorry, I'm being a dick.
No, you're not.
Oh no, it was funny.
Of course it would be, wouldn't it? It would be, wouldn't it?
Why?
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 Would it be fun?
Why would it be funny? Why would it be funny?
It's funny, man. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. especially when
No,
you
it
live
was
in
the
a country
out-breath.
especially
Go on,
when you live in
man.
especially when you live in a country that they believe they are actually democratic when they are heavily communist. And you look at it, it's like, yeah, you're different.
Yeah, but you know, here's the thing that makes me fucking laugh, right? That they play these ideologies off one another, right? And it's like communist, you know, at least you can see the oppressor, right?
Yeah.
England went that one step further, right? Where they fucking perfected it to a fine art that people thought they were free.
Interesting, right?
Splendid work. I mean, if I had my hat on, I'd take it off. It was splendid
that's
work.
a great mind.
Jesus Christ.
Great mind.
Exactly, my hat off. My hat does come off to such ingenuity, such planning, such advanced, strategic, logistical
AEM technology.
Yeah. Well done for enhancing it. That's only a fraction of what it can do, but yeah, well done.
Yeah, so that's certainly one part of it. I must admit, the old what's-his-face that had the 5 sons, Mr. Red Shield himself, when he sent his 5 sons across Europe to start banks. That guy was switched on.
Proper switch.
And the pull that they did with the Napoleonic Wars was just flawless. I thought when I read that and learnt about that, I thought, fuck, you know, you conniving git, right? But at the same time, couldn't help but go, yeah, that's clever.
You know what I mean?
That's clever.
High five on that one.
Yeah, with this whole sort of, like, not a lot of people know, you know, that they were funding kind of both sides of this conflict, this particular family, and because they had people in the UK, one of the brothers was in the sons was in the UK, so they started offloading all of their shares, right? That led people in England from all echelons that they were in on something, and it gave the indication that England lost. So when everybody in England started dumping their sort of like national assets and all the rest of it, well, they were also being bought by the very family that started selling theirs, and they bought it back pennies to the pound. And then after all said and done, practically owned London.
Yep.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Practically overnight, just by that one event. Just that one event fucking spin, just a financial yarn that monopolised the entire financial end of the country.
No.
And then they did it in other places.
Yeah.
Well, a great way to manipulate the market in such a way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Something that I dare say that would be possible now. These people come from what they call old money, and they are certainly perceived as the key holders. You know, a lot of people go, oh, you know, Rothschild, this family, that family, this family. You know, the Rothschild family is the Orsini family. Just changed its name. You know, you still have the Orsini family that it exists, but the Rothschild is just another arm of that family. Oh, we're taking a very turn here, aren't we, Carl? Yes, we are. Are we going to go? Are we going to continue going down this road? Is it necessary, or is it a whole nother show? Well, I believe it's another show. But we started now anyway. Should you finish? I don't think so.
It's a whole other show. What we got? Yeah, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Do some planning, but yeah.
You know, it's interesting. When I came across a video with 6 families, Rossini was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one, Aldebrandini.
Obviously a powerful family. What nationality are these families? What are they? Italian? What's going on? Brandini, Rossini? What is that?
Well, what heritage is that? These are the people behind the seats of Rome.
Yeah.
And the Vatican. And all the rest
There you
of
go.
it.
There you go.
These ain't silly people. Yeah.
No, not in the slightest, mate. Switched right on. Switched right on.
Yeah, and it's kind of these individuals that are pulling sort of like global strings, but we're certainly at a stage now where it's, you know, tides are shifting, power structures are moving. There are new bucks on the playing field, you know, new money, big powerhouses. If you take into account sort of like the Bezos, the Zuckerbergs, the Musks, and a bunch of others as not as well known, but equally as financially powerful and robust. The kind of finances that old money would have monopolized.
Right.
But now, like I said, there's new players on the board, and we're certainly seeing the infighting now, where there's transferences of money. There's equal on either side, one could say, you know, to manipulate the stage for their own views. And we, the masses, just unfortunately catch the fallout and have to conform to crazy draconian shite once they've finished their dealings. But again, that's just another show altogether, isn't it?
Something like that.
Well, I think we've come to a natural end of this one, ladies and gents. What do you say, boys, gentlemen, my learned friends, my right honourable colleagues? Yes, before we start whittering on about other stuff till 5.
The right honourable. Yeah,
we
he
couldn't
agrees.
do that. We couldn't do such a thing. Do you think
we could, yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy. There may be a few lulls, there may be a couple of low points, but, you know, the addition of coffee and the right subject will perk us back up and send us down another rabbit hole for an hour.
Indeed. So we'll be.
But that being said, it's been a pleasure. I don't know what this is. What's this, number 14, number 15? But like we said, ladies and gentlemen, get yourself on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or YouTube. Search yourself The House of Lords. Message yourself the 3 people up here in your ear. Yes, myself, Carl, the one and only, Marius, and the legendary, fabulous, quintessentially himself, Yanni. Right here on the House of Lords. You can email us through the House of Lords 3@gmail.com account. I shall give you that again. That's the House of Lords 3 at the gmail.com, at gmail.com. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
The pleasure's been ours.
It was great.
Until then.